the founders decided that it has to be a tech-led organization.
Okay.
That was the direction. But setting the direction and doing it was very, very different.
We face certain nuances that you cannot probably solve only by being 100% digital.
We thought that let us give that same credit bureau report summary to customer on WhatsApp.
Like any particular lending business, if you say there are certain pillars like credit underwriting or having an LOS or an LMS in place or reporting or MISs.
Customers do not have awareness, customers do not have clear KYC, customers do not have bank statement updated. So people try to find fault in customers.
So income triangulation is a very big problem statement in the customer segment that we are dealing with because it's just not verifiable.
And then after 3 or days of discussion, we come to a conclusion that this can definitely happen.
Hello everyone, my name is Veronica. I work as a product manager at InPrime. Today I have two important founding members with me. So Harsha and Siddharth here.
Hey, hi everyone. This is Harsha.
This is Siddharth.
So today we are going to get incredible insights from them, how the tech journey started in InPrime and how it is shaping our future at InPrime. So before we deep dive into the tech discussion, so Siddharth, I have a question. So what is the interesting story from your initial days of InPrime?
So when InPrime started, the founders decided that it has to be a tech-led organization.
Okay.
That was the direction. But setting the direction and doing it was very, very different. We thought that many fancy things will happen, but we hit a roadblock where we couldn't have Harsha in the team. He was not there.
Okay.
And we had very theoretical notion of how technology works, what can we build, what can we buy, and that journey was very tricky. So till Harsha came, this theoretical notion was there, and after Harsha came, things completely changed. So till then we were thinking that we can only build something in-house. We can hardly build the front end of the app in-house, but back end has to be done by someone else. Or we have to buy LMS, we have to buy LOS. For the loan journeys, these are the standard software. But then Harsha came and he told that he can do something, let's say within 1 month, which we thought that would take 1 year. He said that I can build LOS. In my mind, building LOS was more of a team activity, and he made it an individual activity, saying that I can build an LOS within 1 month. And that was a transformation in the thought process. So the organization became tech-led only when the person who leads the tech joined it. Till then we all had some understanding, but that understanding was very theoretical.
Interesting. So Harsha, so we are a registered NBFC and our business thrives on the customer onboarding via field. So what are the challenges you faced in building those journeys?
Sure. So I think before we dive into the early days, I think it's important that we retouch upon our business model where we go heavy on digital. That is our approach. So, considering my experience where, I've worked on consumer-facing products which are into digital lending, we face certain nuances that you cannot probably solve only by being 100% digital. Right. So let's say a couple of use cases like Aadhaar face match or name matching between bank account name and Aadhaar. So when the reality of the data is that it is very diverse, and there is no single source of truth where you have to manage these nuances efficiently, right? Due to which there will be a drop of funnel which will be very heavy from the top down to the bottom up, and that is often a very big problem that we see in digital lending or any digital process for the matter. So considering these, making it really simple and efficient for our staff who onboard the customers was of very prime importance for us, right? So that's the reason we have, our design principle basically includes keeping it very simple and automating it as much as possible. So certain things which we needed incrementally for our POC, like let's say NASH or KYC, and things like bank statement analysis where we integrated account aggregator. So these things have become sanity in building our customer onboarding app, which we call it as the express app, right? So these things keeping it really simple or efficient, and increasing thereby the productivity of our staff users. So this was of prime concern for us, because for us the staff act as the single point of entry who are in touch with the customers day in and day out.
I remember at times whenever we want to build a feature, the first thought is that this cannot be done. For this customer, this cannot be done. And from there it starts. And the next step, what we do is that we next day meet and say that there is an idea. Probably we can do it and it will happen. And then after 3 or 4 days of discussion, we come to a conclusion that this can definitely happen. So every time a new feature happens, no matter we have built n number of features, even today, when we think of something new, we feel that this cannot be done for this segment. But then some idea comes up, some innovation comes up, and then we are able to make it, and that thing still surprises both of us, I believe.
Yeah, right. So initially we thought of getting all the nuts and bolts ready, so that we have the processes in place to run the loan application journey via our staff users. But we soon realized that just having the basic process isn't going to solve the problem statement. Giving them proper insights to onboard the right type of customers who belong to our TG is one of our key insights that we have found, because the initial set of customers that were getting onboarded were not primarily RTG, right? And we were in the process of finding our PMF as well. So giving them those insights and helping them and enhancing and incrementing their productivity, so that the right set of customers are coming into the funnel, where we get the right amount of data, the right amount of insights for underwriting that kind of customer. So I think these things we have picked up over time, and it's an ongoing process. And yeah.
So if you can describe about our InPrime's tech DNA, how it would.
So tech DNA, I would say, you can put it in simple words as build fast but build right. So I firmly believe in not having shortcuts in terms of building tech, in terms of scalability and availability and things like this. So choosing the right architecture, choosing the right frameworks, choosing the right systems while we are building tech is really important. And also, having been working with consumer-faced tech companies, we wanted to have the security and compliance of a financial institution, but at the same time have the cutting-edge technology and the agility that we get from consumer-facing tech businesses. So the right blend of this thing is what we have to inculcate, and that is what we have been doing at InPrime as well.
So Siddharth, as Harsha mentioned, our motto was like build fast but build it right. So during the journey of building fast, so did you feel there were some hiccups? So what is your take on that?
So my personal perception of what it means to build fast has evolved over time. The companies that I have worked in before, I see it as the build fast and build right transformation. For me, it was like coming from a Maruti Suzuki to a BMW to a Lamborghini now. So when I was in an environment which was similar to a Maruti Suzuki, build fast meant something else. When I was in BMW, the fast meant something else. And when I'm in Lamborghini, the fast means something else. So here in InPrime, I think the speed has been a very different connotation. Generally, product and tech work in a dynamics where product is asking tech to build fast. But so far, what I have to do is that I have to figure out tech is always building fast, and they are always working very rapidly, delivering features. I have to pinpoint when the tech needs to slow down. I have to say that these are the places where you take care. These are the places where there are chances of some error or chances of doing something even better. So those are the places where I highlight that we should go a little bit slower. Otherwise, the default motion is very fast, and that's a big comfort because you need to slow down only at the places where you need to be extra comfort. You need extra comfort, or you need some extra caution. But most of the time, you can actually build fast, and that has helped us so far.
Great. So during designing this particular customer onboarding application or the CRM application for our backend credit team in order to analyze and all, so there will be moments like some Lightbulb moments which you would have got, or say facepalm moments which did not work out. So can you explain some of those use cases with us?
So I think fundamentally, when we are building things and we think of some ideas, those look like light bulbs. But when the ideas are implemented and they go in the hands of our staff and our customer, they can become face palm. So we have seen that there have been things which we discussed thoroughly. We brainstormed for weeks, sometimes even longer, and then we thought of some very brilliant idea, which everyone said that it's going to make everything a lot better. And when it goes out, then you miss out on some very important details. And that has happened several times. We think of something, we think that it will be great, but when it goes in the customer's hand, the customer experience is completely different. So you never know what will happen when it hits the ground. And we have been very humble about it. We, after initial experience, I think we have become humble about it. That even though we have some excellent ideas, we see that when it hits the ground, we try to take feedback. We see if there are anything that we have missed out, and we try to correct that. Now we are grounded enough to think that whenever there is a new idea, we are not going to get it 100% right, and that has been a learning.
How do you think the value proposition we gave to the customer impacted over here?
So, one value proposition we had, a product like lending, generally we try to just gather customers' data, and we try to use that data for our purpose. So one idea was that whatever data that we are consuming, why not give some benefit of that data to customer as well. So let's say when we are checking the credit bureau report, we thought that let us give that same credit bureau report summary to customer on WhatsApp. They will get to know about their credit score, they will get to know about what kind of loan they have taken, they will get to know about the ups and downs in the credit bureau report, and they will know how to improve it. So those kind of things we are doing here, and we are striving to do here, is that whatever we used to do underwriting, if the same data is useful to customer, why not give it back to them as well?
Very interesting. So Harsha, like what design principles we followed during the journey?
So I think three design principles that we closely followed. One is being efficient and adaptable, and having always a multiple channels for customer acquisition, right? So be it in terms of servicing the customer or procuring the customer, not single channel is going to be helpful for you to in building a scalable business. And so two channels that we had launched right now is, one is our primary channel, which is feet on street, where you have our staff users who are in our different branch offices across Karnataka right now, who are procuring the customers via door-to-door acquisition. The other primary channel that we started lately is WhatsApp acquisition, wherein we are doing targeted campaigns for the customers who are falling within our target segment, where the entire KYC and the bureau check is happening via WhatsApp. And we try to convert those customers as our leads, because we already have gathered this data from the WhatsApp of the customer, right? So being multi-channel has been really important for us, and adaptive is what I have been mentioning again and again. So which basically means that it means to make the funnel as better as possible, right? So understanding the data as to what particular pointers or what kind of parameters in our underwriting that are triggering these drop-offs, and tweaking them, experimenting with them, and doing analytics and figuring out patterns as to how can we betterment this funnel over time. So I think this is something that we as a core team and at InPrime have been constantly working and reiterating and bettermenting the process. And and as I was mentioning, that staff productivity is a very important factor for us. So any particular KYC or bank statement analysis, we always have back doors for it. Let's say an automated flow or a bank server is down, we always have pointers where, let's say, they can upload a passbook and we analyze the passbook, right? Or let's say having OCR instead of just entering the ID because UIDA or something could be down. So having these sort of backdoors will basically enhance the efficiency of the overall onboarding process.
Great. So competition is very fierce, and being in a tech-led, that too in the fintech industry, that is added competition, I would say. So what do you think are secret sauce that sets us apart from other tech-led companies?
So I think technology is irreplaceable. Everybody has to do it right. Different people do it right at different levels. Some people get it wrong as well. but merging the technology with consumer insight and understanding what customers really need is very important. So especially the segment that we deal with, organizations tend to find fault in customers, that customers do not have awareness, customers do not have clear KYC, customers do not have bank statement updated. So people try to find fault in customers. And in this segment, that is even more prominent. What we do here is that we empathize with customer. We say that customer has this problem, how can technology help solve it? And that is the secret sauce that is helping us right now, and I think that is going to help us going forward as well, and it is not something that competitors can easily replicate. So building that empathy for customer, and then building technology to serve what the customers need and not judging them, not thinking that they have a problem. That is the way to serve this segment. I do not see any other way where we can serve this segment without empathizing with them.
Very well put. So Harsha, like as we mentioned, instead of finding fault from the customer side, we try to solve it via technology. That is what stands us apart. So can you deep dive more on what kind of technology or what kind of integration we have done? What is our USPs on this?
Right. So coming to the USPs, like any particular lending business, if you say there are certain pillars like credit underwriting or having an LOS or an LMS in place or reporting or MISs, so that you do deep dive of the data that of the customers that you are getting in to understand more about the geolocations or the type of lending that has been happening in the past. So having these pillars in place and in-house importantly is very important, because then you have control over the data and you have a structure to the data, and of course it brings a lot of agility and it brings a lot of scale and pace at experimenting and doing things. So having a better understanding of the data always helps. And so if you see what we have been doing it over here, there are like a couple of things which we are really proud that we have built in-house. So one is with respect to income assessment. So income triangulation is a very big problem statement in the customer segment that we are dealing with, because it's just not verifiable. These customers are not like you and me, who receive a bank account salary in their bank account. So you obviously cannot just rely on the bank statement for income triangulation. There is a very detailed laborious income assessment forms that we have created, which bases the occupation of the customer will ask the right and relevant questions by our area managers, who will basically key in the information, and thereby we'll be able to compute the FOIR, the expenditure, the income and the net income, so on and so forth. So I think this one module we have been able to successfully execute, and we are increasingly adding more and more occupations over a period of time. A couple of other modules which we have already built in-house is BRE. BRE is one of the key features of any loan management system, basically a business rule engine. So the entire credit underwriting sits in this particular BRE, where we have 300 to 400 rules which are running on it. So imagine a scenario wherein 300 to 400 points of data is being skimmed through every loan application that flows into the system. So that's the level of complexity that that is there in the underwriting model, especially with the segment that we are into, right? And LOS, as I was mentioning earlier. So the entire origination of the customer, be it with respect to giving more visibility of this entire data in the best possible way to the backend team, be it the credit team or the operations team, so that they'll be able to manually review these, or if it is an automated way, if they want to do make a checker process along the way, right? So having a 360-degree view of the entire household and building a digital blueprint of whatever data is available for them into our system, I think these are some modules which we have built in-house, which we have been successful in building them, and we are seeing the results, because it is obviously helping the cross-functional teams in bettermenting their work.
Got it. So Siddharth, can you touch upon more on the account aggregator integrations we did and the tag around these pieces? Can you shed some insights?
So I think the informal ecosystem also has evolved to now use UPI. Their income is also visible in the bank account, if not as well as formal sector where salary is directly coming into the bank account, or all the payments for receivables and payables are also coming from bank account. but still we see some transactions happening in the bank account.
Agree.
So we knew from the day one that bank statement is going to be very important in our underwriting. Now, how to get this bank statement? If we ask these customers, they might not have mobile banking. Most of these customers do not like to use bank's mobile banking application. They find it challenging to use it. And if we ask them to go to the bank branch, that is again a bad experience for them. So account aggregator is a tool that we thought that we should integrate from day zero. So when our onboarding app went live, it went live with account aggregator from day zero. So this account aggregator system is helping us gather the important bank statement data directly from the bank, and customer just needs to share an OTP. So it reduces the time of customer going and visiting the bank branch and coming back. Almost half a day's that is replaced with a 2 minutes discussion on an OTP. Most of our bank statements today come through account aggregator system, and those come in a structured way, so analyzing it is easier. We can share insights with the customers as well, and we can share the insights with our staff and back-end underwriting team as well. So that is something that has been a big boon. I think every institution who is doing underwriting for informal segment soon will find that account aggregator is irreplaceable for them.
Totally agree. So Harsha, what is one interesting tech or a pet project or an experiment which you did and which turned out to be a very big win for us?
I would say, I think AI is everywhere nowadays. So we thought we'll find a couple of really cool use cases where it can add some value for us. So we experimented, using it with our OSV upload, wherein a sealed signature of, in the agreement will be has to be manually uploaded by our field staff onto the app, right? So there were obviously cases wherein when you are dealing with so many field staff, signatures will not be there, or they will not be there in a proper format, or the seal will not be there but the signature will be there. So in cases like this, we were able to train using the tools that are already available. We were able to train with our existing data as well and come up with validations wherein, let's say, a customer is not has not signed but still the OSV has been uploaded. We're able to reject it right and there by having the respective validation by running the model in the backend, right? So this is a pet project that has added some value for us. So this reduced the amount of sendbacks that the credit team or the operations team sends it back to the RO team, so the TAT thereby increases, right? So from the time we have introduced this, I think the process has been more or less streamlined. And I think another use case is house photo capture. So visiting the customer's house is mandatory as part of the application procurement process. Now, when I say the field staff to capture the house photo, I could just capture the bed sheet, I could just capture the sofa inside the house, or I could just capture some vessels, right? And say that, I'm inside this house. But how do you efficiently tell that this is the format of the house and this is how it should be captured, right? So I think we have used certain publicly available models as well, wherein we classify the thresholds of certain objects which are available in the photo, right? So these are like simple use cases which we really found that have added value in our overall process.
Got it. So next, when we come to building features, so it is like playing a chess game, right? You have to be always few steps ahead. So how do we in InPrime and the tech team follow the sprints, and how do we plan those releases?
Yeah, I think sprint management is one of the very important, our day-to-day sprint management, and sprint planning is one of the very important activities in our day-to-day life, especially as engineers. It's a dicey question because sometimes we miss the deadlines, sometimes it gets prolonged by 1 week or 2 weeks maybe, but what's really important is that to understand the root cause of why these are happening again and again, right? And we have had our own learnings along the way, and there have been multiple projects where we were able to abide by the timeline and able to give it with a proper bug-free release. But there have been our own times wherein we missed the timelines due to whatever reasons, due to being internal hiccups like requirement may not be proper, or we have missed figuring out some edge cases that we have figured out later on. and things like that, right? So being spending more time during the planning phase, we figured out is very important than deep diving into the execution or implementation phase right after the PRD has been discussed. So that has been helping us lately, but as I was mentioning, it's an ongoing process, and the team also has been very supportive, and everybody has been showing good ownership, so that we are able to ship the products better in a much better shape than we have always been. I think a couple of things which we always see is that making sure of backward compatibility. So any release that we do for the field staff has to be backward compatible, and making sure that the existing data is consistent across. So we have a structured way of ingesting this data and then making some sense out of it, right? So and things like this have been helping us. Yeah.
Got it. So Siddharth, this question keeps running in mind of every product manager, be it an aspirant product manager or an experienced product manager. So there are requirements coming from various stakeholders, be it like financial team, be it the field staff, be it sales team, and so on. And we also, as a company, have some business goals associated to each department. So how do we prioritize which feature to build first, which will go back to the drawing board, etc.?
So I think we have various forums for prioritization. Different teams get involved in prioritizing various projects, but those are more of formalities, I would say. What is working actually is all the cross functions, be it business team, compliance team, operations team, credit team, are aware of what is happening in other functions. They know the priorities of other functions, and we are lucky enough, and I hope that it continues, that a common purpose of InPrime has always taken priority. Okay. So people know that this project is actually going to impact overall our business or overall our operation. And that understanding is something that we strive to build every day. From product side, generally we try to talk to cross functions about what we are doing with other functions and what will be the impact of those projects. Even tech team knows what will be the exact business impact of each product when we discuss those PRDs. And this understanding of cross functions is building a sort of ecosystem where the prioritizations are never cross-fitting. I mean, people are not fighting for their own priority above someone else's priority, which is a very big problem to solve. So far that is working well. We are seeing that people are appreciating the kind of project that we are working on. They understand if a different department's project is prioritized, what is the rationale behind it. And I see that from product side, the responsibility is to communicate and make sure that everybody knows what is going to be the impact of that project. And that's what is working so far.
Okay, great. So Harsha, like we are stepping towards our future and we have so much business goals in our mind for this financial year and as well as the upcoming year. So how do you think our future roadmap looks like? Any interesting project coming up which you would like to share?
Yeah, I think there are many interesting projects that we are working on. I think the primarily the thing that comes out of my mind is lead scoring. Having an internal lead scoring, I think, is a very big competitive advantage. So more often than not, what happens is that people primarily rely on bureau score alone, right? And that score simply is not an actual reliable parameter to always bet upon, because there is a lot of data inconsistency that we have been seeing, be it in terms of the loans being reported, or the number of write-offs, or the DPDs that have been there. So the complexity of this data is enormous, and having a better way of scoring a customer, or having a better way of scoring the lead internally is very important. So basis our credit underwriting model and the rules that we have, we are now trying to build, using a little bit of machine learning as well, we are trying to build an internal lead scoring model which will help us in prioritizing that customer, in categorizing them into specific buckets. That is one interesting project that we are working on, and the other interesting project, I think, is scheduling of the PDs that we are doing. The income assessment piece revolves around a personal discussion where they do a proper business and occupation related assessment, right? So for example, it is a month end, right, and the volume keeps kicking in. now we should be able to have a process wherein you prioritize that, the probability of conversion of this particular customer is more, so you do the PD of this person beforehand, right? So this is an interesting project that we are also working on. So yeah, I mean, do you have any other projects in mind?
For me, the dream project is going to be when we launch our consumer app.
Okay.
So when we started out, there was a huge debate on whether we should start with a consumer app or an assisted staff app. We said that to start the business, the end of the debate was that to start the business, we will need a staff app, but staff app which has a consumer experience. We will have our designer to build the staff app. It will not be like an internal tool which is badly designed. We will need a good consumer experience staff app, and eventually we will need to build a consumer app. So I think it's been more than 1 year since we have been running that, and now probably it's time that we start working on our consumer app. That's the project that I am excited about.
I think if someone asks me what is the interesting project you are excited about, I am kind of in dilemma because I kind of like the prioritization of the income assessment piece, because it is a fact at month end we have a very huge volume where with limited credit underwriting people we have to like prioritize, and having said that we are opening multiple branches and so on, and this also seems very interesting because I have never worked upon directly consumer facing applications, so this seems an interesting project which I would like to explore. So it was a very lovely discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.